What'd you see on tape?
Saw guys that played really hard and really physical. And we had challenged them to play hard and physical for 4 hard quarters, and we felt like the last part of the third quarter, the fourth quarter, our offensive line really started getting a lot of push, and we got the tempo going, and that helped. And so that was a big positive, and our guys made plays. Obviously, Sammy made some big plays deep. Duke made some big plays down the field. I thought Nick, and I thought especially Cameron Artis-Payne made some big plays in the running game. But our guys played hard, they played physical. Obviously, the opening drive was really good. It was really good to get off on the right foot, and then after that, we, the latter part of the first quarter and the majority of the second quarter, we hurt ourselves with penalties. We had a drive that would have been pretty good. No, I think Nick scrambled for a third down conversion. We got a call back for holding, so we ended up getting put in third and a lot and have to punt. And then we have another drive. We're about to have first and goal or somewhere around the 10, and we get a holding call. So now it's 2nd and 14 or something, and then that same drive we end up throwing an interception. So we got out of sync, hurt ourselves a little bit there after that opening drive, and then it sure would have been nice for Nick to hit Sammy on that second drive to go up 14-0 too. That was another missed opportunity. But that being said, I thought in the third quarter and the fourth quarter our guys really settled in and played well, and the most proud I was of them when we got down 24-14. They had all the momentum in the world. Our guys took 3 straight drives and scored. And one of those being a 96-yard drive. So they did respond very well to adversity. That was a big positive.
Rhett, obviously, kind of at that point in that third quarter, midway, when you responded at that 10-point deficit, there was a play where there were 12 players on the field, I guess, right after the long pass play to Duke. So can you explain what happened on that?
Yeah, we obviously didn't have the right guys on the field. We signaled the formation, and one guy stayed on the field. The new guy ran on. Obviously, that's not good.
Like Nick, just finding a way to make a play. Especially the scramble to Duke and then the one to Sammy down the field. A couple of them really impressive.
Yeah, what he did is, I know he missed Sammy on that one early that should have been a touchdown, but after that, he really did a good job of giving those guys chances to make plays. And then when there were some protection issues or a guy just got beat, he was able to extend the play. Specifically the big third down, because that was the drive. It was 24-14. He converted. It was about a 3rd and 11, I think. And what you don't see is if he could have gotten the ball off on time, it would have probably been a touchdown because the defender covering Duke, who he was about to throw to, fell down. So as long as he hits him, it's about a 70-yard touchdown. He scrambled out, though, made a fantastic play. Duke made a good play, and that got us going. But, really for the most part, there was about 3 or 4 plays that I thought he didn't play very well. But other than that, I thought he had a really good game and made plays for him.
Rhett, as a coordinator, when you have one game where you have 0 penalties on offense, and then a game where you really hurt yourself with penalties, what do you see as the difference in other than obviously different officials making calls? But
well, I don't know. I don't know if it's being on the road has something to do with it. I think we had 4 penalties on offense. I think we had 2 holds. We had the delay game, which that was on us as coaches, and then we had I think Reese got called for a chop block downfield. So that was what we had on offense. So we didn't have any pre-snap penalties, motion because of the noise, and those are things that we really harp on, especially when you go on the road. So I was proud of the guys for that, but it's a discipline thing. You got to be in the right body position, and when you start to feel a guy leave, you can't grab him. You got to let go and refit, and obviously the time that happened, one of the penalties in turnovers was critical, was inside the 20-yard line. So it's rare that you're going to have a game without any penalties like we did 2 games ago. But, obviously we can't have those drive killers, those 10-yard penalties and 15-yard penalties. It's just a discipline issue.
Sorry. How was Rock feeling there midway through the second quarter when he came off limping?
Rock's fine. He rolled an ankle, and he could have gone back in. Probably wouldn't have been full speed. So at that point, Coach Horton just decided that, Corey and Cam, the seniors on the road that were full speed, to ride them out. And I thought Cam did what he normally does. He got stronger as the game went on, and so we fully expect Rock to be fine, no major issues.
It seemed like the running backs as a whole, including obviously Cat, they would take those inside runs, they'd bounce them out more when they saw the opening. How important was that over the last couple of weeks to let them know, hey, you see it, hit it? Yep,
it's huge. It's something like we talked about last week. We worked in the off week, and when it was there, I thought they did a good job of staying inside and not trying to bounce it just to do it. But sometimes, as you get rolling, defenses just start overplaying it. And not only did they bounce, but I thought our wideouts did a good job blocking on the perimeter to spring some of those runs that were going to be a 4-yard run. Now it's a 9 to 12-yard run. And I think Nick had a long run on one. He pulled Quan, peeled back, and made a really good block for him. So those guys did a good job blocking on the perimeter, because you can't bounce it on the perimeter if you don't block the perimeter, and that's something we're getting better at.
Rhett, back in the spring and fall camp and in the first couple of weeks of the season with Cap and Corey, it was 1-1A and everything's a committee. And now Cap's leading the SEC in rushing.
Yeah.
How much of this has been Cap rising to the occasion and creating separation there? And how much of this may be, because last year it was also by committee, and then Trey said that.
Yep.
How much of this, these guys rising to the occasion, how much of this is just part of the plan, or just not recognizing that there is a leader earlier on in the process?
I think it's very similar to last year. You know, I think the way Trey got hot late had nothing negative to do with the way Cameron was playing or Corey, and they still both had a lot of good runs and good plays. It's just Trey became kind of that guy who had the hot hand, and Cap is, like I said last week, he's as steady and consistent, as reliable as anybody we have, and probably about as reliable as anybody in the country, that you know exactly what you're going to get. And halftime, he didn't have big stats. You know, he made some good runs, but he just keeps plugging. He keeps coming at you, and then when we start to wear people down, you know, he really can churn out those yards late. He gets better as the game goes on. So I think it's more of Cameron starting to really emerge into that role. We hope Rock continues to come. We hope Corey continues to come on, and we still got trust in those guys. But, you know, like I said, Cameron right now has become very steady for us.
I wanted to ask you, what have you seen as far as not just the way he's running, but maybe confidence? He talks about being comfortable. But what are you seeing in practice and maybe on the field that is a little different than maybe you saw first part of the year or last
Talking about Cap?
Yeah.
I don't know if there was anything that we didn't see in him in the first part. We knew at the beginning of the year we thought he'd be a 1,000-yard back in this league. We really did. Now, I don't know, we didn't know to what level, and there's still some of that remains to be seen. But, you know, what he's done is he just has great determination. He has a drive in him, a very quiet strength of drive that, you know, he's going to be successful. He's very driven to prove himself. And he doesn't have to say anything to anybody about it, but he comes to work every day. I've said it before. He's like Coach Horton would say, he's a pro before he's a pro. The way he prepares, the way he studies film, the way he comes to practice, he's the same young man every single day. If he's having a bad day, you're not going to know it as far as how he is in meetings and practice. And so I think that consistency is something you start to see on the football field.
Rhett, since the open date, you guys have scored, I guess, 11 touchdowns and had 3 90-plus yard drives, and just about all those touchdowns have been long drives.
Yeah.
Has there been a difference, a noticeable difference in what's happened since?
Well, you know, one thing, guys were making plays. We had 2 big third and long conversions last night, obviously, in the second half. Duke had one, Sammy had one. You got to make plays in big games. Sometimes it's not going to just be clean. You got to make plays. But, you know, I think we've been more consistent overall from the execution standpoint, the effort, how hard we play, guys being unselfish, blocking, playing without the ball. And I think that's had a lot to do with it. You know, for some reason, we're better with long fields than short fields. I don't understand. We try to make the simple hard and the hard simple for whatever reason. We've done a good job the last 2 weeks with long drives, but we had a couple opportunities last night with short fields, and we didn't take advantage of that. So we got to have that same mentality as when we're backed up. We got to have that same attention to detail and focus when we get a good field to go score.
Do you feel like you're starting to see the offensive line similar progression of last year, especially these last 3 weeks?
They're getting better. They really are. I mean, they've gotten better each week, probably from the LSU game till now. And I think that's credit to JB and those senior guys and those guys that played a lot of games, and they're just getting a little more continuity. We can still improve there and everywhere else we feel as we go game to game. But they're starting to get very consistent. We're not having a lot of busts. We're not having a lot of free runners. We're not having a lot of missed assignments. And we're getting more movement, being more physical, which is good.
Right, go back to Cap for a minute. When he's in the echelon where he is statistically, both in the SEC nationally, I guess the only knock on him really is the touchdowns aren't there compared to some of the other backs in the country, especially compared to Trey from a year ago also. Why do you think that is, that's happened just where Nick may get more? I know he had one after Cap got you guys to like the 4 or the 6 last night, and they granted. Why do you think, is there a rhyme or reason to it this year?
No, I think, you know, probably one thing that Cap has that a lot of other running backs don't is they have a guy like Nick playing quarterback. So Nick's got 9 rushing touchdowns. So, you know, that's probably at least 5 that are taken away from Cap. Like you said, last night Cap has 3 great runs for about 25 yards to get us to the 2-yard line. And we were going to give it to Cap, and I think they had a player down. So things slowed down, stopped, so we went with a different play, and Nick's the one who ends up getting in. And, you know, like I said, Cam's a quiet guy. He's not a me guy. He doesn't get a lot of the attention that he probably deserves. But I think he's okay with that. And we know how good he is and how consistent he's been for us. You know, I think he's okay. He doesn't seem to have an issue with not getting those touchdowns because he's not a me guy. He's a really selfless and a team guy.
All right, Coach.